Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unraveling a pretty fascinating mystery in the education world. Have you ever wondered why school districts with incredible data, highly qualified staff, and honestly, the best of intentions, still see massive rates of student and staff attrition? It's like they have all the information in the world right at their fingertips, yet they just seem totally stuck in this cycle of stagnation. Well, today we are going to set the stage to uncover a hidden variable: system stability. We're going to look under the hood at the very architecture of how schools operate and reveal exactly what separates a failing system from one that truly thrives.
So let's kick things off with a bit of a paradox that gets right to the heart of the matter. Why do schools that perfectly know their problems still fail to fix them? I mean, we live in an era of endless dashboards and metrics, right? Schools know exactly where they're falling short. They have visibility. They have accountability. But the absolutely crucial point here is that having awareness and accountability simply isn't enough to drive real change. Knowing a door is locked doesn't magically open it. To understand why this happens, we really have to look deeper into how these institutions function on a day-to-day basis.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll examine the time compression crisis facing our students. Second, we'll identify the missing hinge of systemic improvement. Third, we'll look at the half rule and the trap of reactive systems. Fourth, we'll build a unified improvement system. And finally, we will break down the return on improvement using some hard data.
Starting with Section 1, the time compression crisis, and the specific forces accelerating student decline.
We really can't talk about student retention without first taking a hard look at the environment our students are actually operating in. Today's students are navigating this exponential landscape of 6 converging external forces. You've got socio-economic pressures that divert a student's focus just toward basic survival. You've got negative peer pressures redirecting their time toward conformity rather than true development. Then there are high-risk activities that eat up time and carry long-term consequences. Add to that domestic instabilities, learning challenges, and missed opportunities. The biggest takeaway here is that these forces do not operate in a vacuum. They crash into a student simultaneously. They literally crush a student's developmental window by forcing them to spend all their time just trying to survive rather than actually growing. And this creates a very real phenomenon known as time compression.
This right here is the daily battleground for a student. On one side, we have negative time compression. This happens when all those converging external forces dominate, the student's time loses its developmental value, and their entire life becomes a reactive struggle. But on the other side, we have positive time compression. This is where the school system actually steps up to do its true job. When a system is properly structured, it stabilizes the environment, it insulates the student, and it actively multiplies the value of their time through proactive support. So the core conflict really boils down to this: which system controls the student's time? Is it the external negative pressures or the internal positive structure of the school?
Let's move to Section 2, the missing hinge, and how we get from mere awareness to actual improvement capacity.
If a school's main job is to create positive time compression, why do so many of them just buckle under the pressure? Well, to figure that out, let's look at 3 foundational questions literally every organization has to ask. Question 1 is visibility. What's happening? We've got plenty of data for this. Question 2 is accountability. What is failing? We've got evaluations for that. Now think of visibility as the handle on a door and accountability as the lock. Most schools out there have incredibly shiny handles and really heavy locks. But question 3 is time allocation. What is actually being done about the problem? And crucially, does the time even exist in the schedule to do it? If you have a door with a handle and a lock, but absolutely 0 hinges, well, that door's never going to open.
And that brings us perfectly to the hinge principle. Question number 3, time allocation, is the hinge on which the entire educational system turns. Without allocated, fiercely protected, and measured time for proactive improvement, student and staff retention is fundamentally impossible. Time allocation is the ultimate hidden variable here. It's the only resource that magically converts your awareness of a problem into measurable improvement. Think about it. If you have absolutely 0 protected time to fix a problem, your improvement capacity is 0, and ultimately, your retention is going to drop right to 0 too.
Moving on to Section 3, the half rule, which is the inefficiency trap of reactive systems.
So how does this lack of a hinge actually play out in day-to-day operations? It creates something we call the half rule. Without structured evaluation and protected time, a staggering 50% of an institution's energy and time is completely wasted on reactive crisis management. We're talking about constantly putting out fires, managing daily chaos, and running exhausted on administrative treadmills. This reactive state totally masks stagnation as progress. Why? Because everyone is incredibly busy, but nothing is actually getting better. To engineer positive time compression for students, a school has got to claw back and fiercely protect the other half of that equation, the proactive improvement time.
Now for Section 4, the unified improvement system, and how we can engineer inevitable success.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? If reactive management is a disease, the cure is a 5-part unified engine. And this exact model was used in the Jacksonville North Pulaski School District to completely transform their operations. First up, KANBAN. This means work is demand-driven. You pull work based on validated student needs rather than just pushing administrative routines. Second is Kaizen, ensuring continuous incremental growth instead of chaotic episodic reform. Third, we have TMQ, or Target Meet Qualify. This is controlled evaluation. Every single initiative is rigorously measured. Fourth is WIN, which stands for Watch Improvement Now, ensuring totally verified progress transparency for the public. And finally, D2D, the daily deployment of specialized knowledge. When you lock these 5 gears together, success isn't just some vague hope anymore. It becomes a predictable, highly measurable output of the entire system.
Finally, Section 5, Return on Improvement, where we break down the math of system transformation.
Let's dig into the hard data and the actual math of system transformation. The return on improvement, or ROI formula, is elegantly simple. It's the measurable performance gain minus the cost of the time investment, all divided by that cost. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is that when we talk about cost, we are strictly talking about time. The data clearly shows that the sheer value of academic performance gains, reduced remediation, and systemic efficiency vastly outweighs the cost of setting aside structured improvement time. The return on investment becomes positive almost immediately when knowledge is deployed strategically like this. Now, you might be wondering exactly how much time is required to see these massive returns. Get ready for this: 18 minutes. That is the shockingly small daily time investment required per subject matter expert or teacher to completely shift the entire system. Just 18 minutes a day of fiercely protected, proactive, targeted improvement time equates to 90 minutes a week or 78 hours a year of massive, compounding institutional capacity. You don't need to magically find 5 extra hours in the school day. You just need 18 highly structured minutes to make success predictable. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Take a look at this proof from the Jacksonville North Pulaski School District. Under this exact methodology, their lowest quartile English language arts growth currently exceeds the state average. That is a massive strategic advantage and undeniable proof that targeting your effort really works. It proves that when time is structured and protected, the system successfully insulates its most vulnerable students. And because it's a scalable system, they can now apply this exact same pressure-tested methodology to their math and science departments to accelerate growth across the entire district. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful provocation from the final hinge statement. A system does not retain students because it understands problems. It retains students because it has the time and structure to solve them. I want you to really stop and think about that. Awareness is passive. Action requires time. If you're a leader, an educator, or honestly just someone who cares deeply about the future of our students, the question isn't whether you know what's broken anymore. The real question is, are you protecting the time required to actually fix it? Thank you so much for diving into this fascinating operational architecture with me today. Let this be your call to engineer positive time compression in whatever system you are a part of.